Hello everybody and welcome back. I'm just getting over some bronchitis. My name is BlazeVlogs and this is the show. Today I want to talk to you guys about character theft and art theft. This is a very important topic. I've seen it come up a lot more and more, and I've had people ask me talk about this. So I'm gonna open the floor up to you guys. What do you guys think about artists and people who steal art and characters and appropriate them for themselves for monetary gain or social gain? Leave it in the comment section below. I'm gonna just right out of the bat throwing that comment out there, because my personal opinion on it straight up is it's wrong and it's rude and it's straight up very, very selfish thing to do. It may be something out of desperation, or it may be just this intense need to feel accepted, but that's pretty much my end thought on it. Now, I've had my character stolen from me once, and I've asked the person to stop, and that's about all I was able to do aside from a DMCA takedown, which, if you don't know what that is, please look it up. I'll leave the comment section. I'll leave it in the comment section below, so you can look up some information about that. But effectively, most websites worth their salt will have DMCA takedown policies so that they can get art and stuff that's not belongs to them removed. But yeah, so I'm gonna start off with art theft and defining what I feel art theft is. Art theft is using somebody else's art, style, and art resources for financial gain for yourself. Stuff you don't own, stuff you didn't create, and using it for your personal gain. And what does this mean? That means straight up recoloring art that already exists and selling it as new art. Tracing line for line and selling it as new art. And straight up removing the watermark and the signature and replacing it with yours and selling it as yours. And that's just wrong. It's also lazy. But I want to cover something too, because there's kind of a gray area here. I've had some friends who have used art as references and they've been accused of art theft even though they weren't stealing any art. The thing with art is that you have to use references. You have to use real life examples and previous examples of things that are great. And a lot of artists use art to effectively inspire themselves and get better. I know that I have favorite artists. There's a reason why Fur Affinity puts favorite artist tags underneath it. Tracing art is layering it on top of something and drawing line for line over that thing so that you get an exact replica of what you were drawing. And then coloring it in and doing it and making it, you know, like, well, no, I made that art. No, you didn't. You didn't make that art. That's not your art. That's somebody else's art that you traced and took. That's stealing. That's straight up stealing, and it's wrong. And I'm pretty sure in some situations it's an arrestable offense. In a lot of situations, artists use tracing as a way to get better. When I was going through college, I was taught in my art classes, my traditional art classes. I went to art school straight out of high school. It was a bad idea. Don't do it. Anyway, that's another story. I have my own. I can make a whole story on that. Artists trace to get better. They don't trace to make money. Artists express creativity to make money. They don't take somebody else's creativity to make money. Very key distinction. However, artists use real-world examples as inspiration. I've had a friend who traced somebody else's pose, not the art itself, and they got accused of stealing art, even though they used 3 or 4 different resources to make that art piece. I'm not gonna weigh in whether or not I feel that was stealing art, but that's still an example of despite using a real-world example, if it's too close to something, it's stealing it. But not only that, I asked Twitter to chime in. a few people chime in. Two most notably. Latin Vixen, the owner of Mixed Candy Fursuits, very popular fursuit. I've featured her in another of my top 5 favorite videos. I'll have that in the description below. She says, it's extremely annoying. She asked what I plan to cover. I plan to cover its effect on victims. The people that pay to get traced art feel cheated and won't want to do work with you anymore. And the people that you stole from will feel very angry at you, and it generally creates this cloud of shitstorm that negatively affects you, and you will be perceived as a very negative influence in the fandom. And it will slowly deteriorate your ability to do anything in the fandom. And I wanted to just kind of like define the fine line between tracing and inspiration, as I already covered. Kahori, and I'm not just making this up. There we go, yeah, see? All right. And I even have Kahori, who says art theft is rude. Character theft is rude. Don't do it. Straight up, don't do it. I have another fur who chimed in. He goes, I don't like it when people take them on purpose. It's just rude to the original maker and time they've spent developing their Sona. The stealer usually changes the name and characteristics, but not the style. And that's what makes the persona, is the style plus its little characteristic. Like, he's talking about the personality. He changes the personality and it changes their name, but he gives them the same colors and the same look and style. That's what makes them them. Be more creative. I mean, if you really are stressed for creative ideas, people sell adoptables for that reason. Find an adoptable you like, bam. Character development is easy. Artists are already doing it for you. With that segue, let's talk about character theft. Character theft is when you pretend to be somebody else using everything about them. So, effectively, if you copied these characters here, these ones, it's hard to do this backwards. These guys right here, or that guy over there, yeah. If you copied those, you would be stealing. If you copied everything about them, the claws, the paws, the face, the teeth, if you took that art and then you designed it exactly the same, style for style, color for color, shape for shape, spot for spot, stripe for stripe, in exactly the same place, and gave it a different name, you are stealing a character. I don't care, but the US copyright offices would definitely agree with me. Take, for example, let's take the most iconic thing I could possibly think of, Mickey Mouse. Let's take Mickey Mouse. You take Mickey Mouse, design completely straight up, and you just, now he's not Mickey Mouse. He's Frankie Mouse. I hate to say it, it's still f***ing Mickey Mouse. Excuse my French. This problem is pretty rampant. I've had this happen to me a couple times, and it's really bad. It's like advanced art stealing. Because it's impersonating you. It's not just taking an art thing, it's not designing something. You're like, I'm really inspired by this. And I hate to say it, but this video today, I was really hoping to not make, but I've seen more and more and more of this pop up on my timeline on Twitter and on fursuit. It's really rampant. First 5 seconds in a public chat in fursuit and someone took my icon and changed their name. I was on Twitter about 6 months ago and someone took my Kali persona, my fursuit, their icon was me and their name was me, and they were basically acting as me. This video was created because I was inspired by a photo that popped up on my Telegram timeline of somebody on fursuit who posted something about a Dutch angel dragon, which by itself is its own subject matter I could talk about. Dutch angel dragons are actually copywritten. Eno owns the copyright to it. You can look it up on the US copyright offices, I'm sure. Doing something like a poor man's copyright doesn't actually protect you from copyright. Some short tips. Poor man's copyright effectively is mailing yourself a design schematic and detailed description and using the date stamp and never opening it, just in case a court date comes up, you can pop it open and say, look, I own the copyright. It doesn't work that way. Saying you own the copyright to a character is kind of tricky. When it's widely considered that you own that character, people start attributing you to that character, you kind of become the de facto owner of the character. Just like everybody associates Bitkat with me, even though it's not my main persona, and they associate Scotch now with me, and Bytekat, all of these are characters I own by de facto, like de facto own. Yeah. What does that mean exactly? Well, it means that these are actually not formally copywritten characters. I don't have an official copyright on any of my characters. I know some people do. Some people have copyrights on their characters, and I think that's great. And I feel like, genuinely speaking, this is more of a do as I say, not as I do moment. But I feel like most of the furry fandom really should do this, because as time goes on, more and more people join the fandom, the design ideas will slowly run out. And when they run out, people are going to start copying things whether they feel it's yours or not. And they're going to start using things, especially the younger generation, who have a very, very distorted concept on what is right and what's wrong. I was there. I know what it's like to feel that way. I see this happening with younger kids who are needing attention. They'll take a character that's well known, they'll go on the internet and pretend to be somebody that they're not so that they can make new friends. And it's generally a quick way to get you figured out pretty quick. Imagine the person who stole my character is on Twitter, and I imagine he's still doing it right now. And he had his Twitter banner as my character, he had my pictures that he was using to basically showcase that he was me. And while it's kind of freaky, I'm kind of over it because there's one issue, one major flaw in stealing a character. You have to follow through when you make a promise. And when you meet somebody and they want to meet you and they want you to show you that fursuit that you don't have, or that art that you don't own, or the person that is on the camera that isn't actually the person who shows up, you're going to be called out and you're going to feel really, really bad. And you might never want to come back. And I don't really want that. If you really need a character, there are plenty of artists who have adoptables. And they will sell you that character rights and all. And that straight up. This was a hard one to talk about because there's a lot of tricky little things involved in this video. Topics you kind of have to side skirt and not talk much about. Effectively speaking, art theft is bad, character theft is bad, and that is straight up how it is. I'm not going to side skirt it. People think it's rude, artists feel violated, and it's very annoying to have to deal with all of the people that you have to do all of the DMC takedowns on, and it's just a pain in the butt. So just don't do it. If you like the person's art that you're stealing from, use it as a form of exercise to make your style more like theirs, but don't copy them. It's just bad.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.